Good evening, I'm Emma Jane Vale and this is Television Tonga News. In the headlines, the Free Wesleyan Church of Tonga schools hold a combined prize-giving ceremony and awards prizes to its top students. 17 villages in the Western District benefit from Stage 1 of the Tonga Village Network Upgrade Project, and Chief Justice Michael Scott corrects a media report in a civil suit about the former Attorney General. These and more stories, including news from sports and the weather information later on in this bulletin. Let's take a look at the news in detail. The Free Wesleyan Church secondary schools held a combined prize-giving ceremony this morning and presented prizes to its top students. The guest of honour at the event was Her Majesty Queen Nanaspa'u. Sinilatu has more on that story.
Koe kapteni, pe koe tax o kolis kuin salote, ki he wafe tatolu. Mauia ki kolomotua, haavakatolo, felemea, mounga one, fonoi, haano, panga opilolevu, kolonga vavau, punga vavau, siamane haavakatolo mokolonga. E tuimala, Marina, Aquinas, Nexa, Haleamotua.
Her Majesty Queen Nanaspa'u was the guest of honor at the Free Wesleyan Church of Tonga's combined prize-giving ceremony held at the Queensalote College Hall. The prize-giving ceremony was for Queensalote College, Dubo High School and Dubo College. The Ducks of Queensalote College went to Tuimala Marina Haleamotua from Kolomotua, Haveluloto Tongatapu, Ha'ano Ha'pai, Whangapilolevu, while the first runner-up was awarded to Siniteke Tonga from Makaunga, Talafo'o and Hofoa. The Ducks for Tupo High School was Te Vita Liu of Ovaka Vava'u, Kolowai Tongatapu, while prizes to the second top student went to Ratu Whakahua Se Sika Finau from Neafu Vava'u and Uiha Ha'apai. Tupo College's Ducks was awarded to Ika Whaawa Fuliwai Tuipulotu from Ovaka Vava'u, Hunga Ha'apai, Veitongo, Hofoa and Isileli, while the first runner-up was awarded to Viliami Mafi from Kolomotua, Siakoveyongo and Siato Tai. During the ceremony, other prizes were also awarded to winners in the various levels. For Television Tonga News, I'm Sinilato.
Seletute Mafi from Haveluloto was announced as the Ducks of St. Joseph Business College for 2013. This was revealed during the college's graduation yesterday, which took place at the Patelesio and Sir Sofele Kakala Hall. Anasiu Falekaono has more on that story.
The guest of honor at the graduation ceremony was the Minister of Education, Dr. Anataufe Ulungaki. In her keynote speech, she thanked the teachers and the principal for all they've done for the students. I want to thank the principal and teachers for a job well done in teaching the graduates so they can be useful to the nation. They should set good examples so they can role models and help develop Tonga in various ways.
Tahine tuki muataha ako angani I wafe tahatolu mauia ki whakareonga hapai hauma nakolo kolowai kolofou haveluloto tongatapu e seretute lesieri vai ata mafi.
In a speech from the Ducks, Seletute Mafi, she says, thinking of her family, her home and the hardship they face, pushed her to do her best. My father is the sole income earner for our family. What he earns put food on the table, pays for my bus fare, school fees and other expenses. So I always remember that and try to do my best in my studies. During the ceremony, the representative of the Bishop and the Catholic Church, Father Nuka Solot, formally announced the new principal for next year, who is Soana Maya Kahalaniwa. 36 students graduated from the Business College for this academic year. The annual graduation ceremony was attended by parents, teachers and many more guests. For Television Tonga News, I'm Anasiu Falekaono.
The Prime Minister's high-level meetings which he attended in Asian countries are deemed a success. This is confirmed in a statement from the Prime Minister's office after the Prime Minister returned home on Saturday. Kalaine Tongilava with the details.
The string of successful high-level meetings that the Honourable Prime Minister Lord Tuivano attended includes the second China-Pacific Island Countries Cooperation Forum, which was held in Guangzhou in China. It provided an opportunity for Tonga to maximize trade and development opportunities with the People's Republic of China. The outcome of the meeting between Tonga's delegation and the Chinese officials gave a positive indication that China will provide these proposals, whilst assistance towards agricultural development, such as the key sea cucumbers project, have been confirmed for the coming years. Moreover, the most significant outcome of the forum is that bilateral meetings steered by the Lord Prime Minister led to the signing of the Economic and Technical Cooperation Agreement for a grant of 50 million RMB. After the meeting, the Honourable Prime Minister attended the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which was held in Sri Lanka. The meeting provided an unprecedented opening for Tonga and small states to discuss escalating debt issues and inadequate access to financing. Other focus on the agenda includes environmental issues such as climate change. The final high-level meeting that the Honourable Prime Minister attended was the special meeting with the ICT ministers and heads of state and government at the ITU Connect Asia-Pacific Summit held in Bangkok in Thailand last week. During the meeting, Tonga was praised on several development projects, including the new fibre optic cable system, which provides investment opportunities for the people, employment opportunities, and economic growth. For Television Tong News, I'm Caroline Tonglava.
Residents of 17 villages in the Western District have better access now to safe and reliable electricity supply. This comes upon the completion of Stage 1 of the Tonga Village Network Upgrade Project, which renews electricity lines and poles in the villages, among other technical work. The program to mark the completion of Stage 1 and the groundbreaking ceremony of Stages 2 and 3 was held at the village of Kanokopolo. Sinilatu reports.
The guest of honor at a special event to mark the completion of Stage 1 of the Tonga Village Network Upgrade Project was the Honourable Prime Minister Lord Tuivano. The Prime Minister initiated a groundbreaking program to officially start work towards Stages 2 and 3 of the TVNU project. Following suit was the Minister for Public Enterprises, Fe'ao Vakata, New Zealand High Commissioner, the Chairman of the Board of Directors of Tonga Power Limited, and Free Wesleyan Church President, Reverend Dr. Ahio. In a speech from the Public Enterprise Minister, Fe'ao Vakata, he highlighted the positive outcomes of the first stage of the project.
It is notable that the project has reduced the distribution losses, showing a small saving on diesel cost, and has cut the number of low-voltage outages to almost zero. Most importantly, the people in each of these villages now have access to a first-class electricity network that is both safe and reliable. These will help drive down the cost of running the business and should provide further downward pressure on the price of electricity. Then there are benefits that cannot be put into monetary terms in how do we vary safety of supply. Knowing that children will never be harmed from broken poles and old wires.
Stages 1 to 3 of the project is funded by the New Zealand government to the tune of almost 40 million pa'anga. New Zealand's High Commissioner, His Excellency Mark Talbot, told the gathering that New Zealand feels it's important to support Tonga's energy sector.
New Zealand wants to help support sustainable economic development here in Tonga. That means supporting the productive sectors of the economy, but it also means supporting the critical enabling sectors. And one of the most fundamental sectors for any economy is energy, electricity, power.
Meanwhile, Director of Tonga Energy Roadmap, Term Inoke Finau, reminded them of government's vision for the nation to use renewable energy. Term was tasked by government to seek funding for the project.
The various programs that this government has bestowed on the stakeholders who are in the forefront of developing this program is to provide up to 50% of energy generated from renewable sources by 2020, have access 100% to the people of Tonga, and of course, an affordable price to the consumers.
More than 10 villages benefited from the first stage of the project, and more than 30 villages will benefit from the second and third stages of the same project.
From the Supreme Court, Tonga's Chief Justice Michael Scott has corrected a media report that he has not excused himself from a civil suit by the former Attorney General John Cauchi after he has misdirected the jury. Mr. Cauchi is suing the Tongan government for contract breaches after he resigned in 2010 into a projected 3-year term. Cauchi is alleging that the government created the circumstances which forced him to resign and is seeking about $1 million pa'anga in damages. But Chief Justice Scott has clarified to Television Tonga News that he has not stepped aside as reported by the media. He's also denied as entirely incorrect part of the media report that he was incorrect in telling the jury that it would not have a role in determining liability in the case. The government plans to increase the dividends paid to it by its various public enterprises. The dividend will be increased to 50%, and there's hope that the change will be implemented in the next financial year. The Minister of Public Enterprises, Fe'a Vakata, confirmed this to Television Tonga News this morning. Whatai Whainga'a has more on that story.
The Honourable Minister of Public Enterprises, Fe'a Vakata, says the average amount of dividend paid to the government depends on the business or company profit. Therefore, in past years, a majority of government's businesses paid an average dividend of 25 to 50%. The government has put in place a special target for all its businesses' dividend to begin next year, and that is 50% on average. He adds this move aimed to better their services. The change is part of the government's move to ensure sustainable economic growth and improve the government's services. Moreover, the Public Enterprise Minister says there are some businesses which cannot pay their dividend, and action is carried out to deal with this through its board members and management. This is with the exceptions of some businesses, depending on their line of service provided to public. For Television Tonga News, I'm Whatai Whainga'a.
From the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Michael Scott will, at a later date, make a decision for the trial between Aklis Bohiva and 4 accused who were alleged of theft, conspiracy of theft, embezzlement, and conspiracy to commit theft, after it was heard in the Supreme Court. This trial was previously heard in the Magistrate Court and dismissed based on insufficient evidence. The case is now before the Supreme Court based on an appeal made by Bohiva was not satisfied with the ruling made in the Magistrate Court. Whatai Whainga'a has more with that story.
Mr. Bohiva believes that a $25 million grant from China was a public fund and not a trust fund. The prosecutor, Akilisi Bohiva, was tearful as he made his statement and submitted his evidence in court. Bohiva insists that the funds transferred to Tongaset Company was given secretly in a dishonest manner, as not many in government were aware of the funds transferred to the company. The 4 accused in a trial are the Prime Minister Lord Divanor, William Clive Atwoods, Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal Bilolevu Tuita, and Tongaset Company. The legal counsel for Princess Bilolevu Tuita, Lord Prime Minister and Tongaset, is Stephen Stanston. He told the court that this is an extreme allegation. Another accused, Clive Atwoods, represents himself and he made an appeal to dismiss the case.
The CEO of the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Tataf Moyaki, reveals that the ministry has recorded a 15 million pa'anga increase in aid money provided from foreign donor partners towards government's budget. This aid money is injected directly into the government budget. Kalaine Tongilava has the details.
CEO of the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Tataf Moyaki, revealed the 15 million pa'anga increase towards the government budget during the government official review with representatives from foreign donor partners. Mr. Moyaki believes this is based on government being able to complete the requirements from the foreign donors. Any kind of fund needs to be handled properly. This is the role of the Ministry of Finance to oversee this. I believe that one sign for our good relations with the donor partners is that the aid money that the government have received has increased from the previous aid money provided in the previous financial year. It has increased substantially from 20 million per anga to 35 million per anga. One benefit of hosting this meeting is that we can review the requirements that the donor partner sets for its aid program. The CEO speaks more about the various foreign donors. The Government of New Zealand provides aid support towards the education sector, while the Australian Government is supporting many health-related initiatives with the Ministry of Health. There are also other international organizations, such as the World Bank, Asia Development Bank, United Nations, and others who are funding other development projects, such as the fiber optic cable system and the renovation work towards the airport. The meeting was attended by the Minister of Finance and National Planning, Lisa Te Akolo, whose ministry monitors the aid money. The meeting is held twice a year in Okalofa. Reporting for Television Tonga News, I'm Kalolaine Tonglava.
The Japanese ambassador to Tonga, His Excellency Dr. Kazuchika Hamuro, continues to share the Japanese culture and tradition with local students. This is done through the screening of a Japanese film at the Haumangeleia Government Primary School and the Dubo Tertiary Institute. These schools are the beneficiary of Japan's grant assistance for grassroots project. Also at the event was the ambassador's wife, Mrs. Kyoko Hamuro, the Honorary Consul of France in Tonga, Mrs. Debo Bascalafiu, among other guests. The film, known as the Robo G, is directed by one of Japan's well-known film directors and screenwriters about the robot exhibition. That's local news. Sports is up next with Pierre Ollier.